Hey, good people. It pains me to say that I've had the opportunity to view the mess known as Season 6 of Love is Blind. And in my opinion, this has got to be the absolute worst season in the show's history. But for this video, I want to focus on Clay and AD. Now, over the past few days, I've been reading several negative comments on social media about Clay and how he's been compared to Chris from Married at First Sight, and how Clay is a bum. And in the interest of fairness, I want to share my thoughts on Clay. I think that it's abundantly clear that Clay had no business being on Love is Blind, or any other dating show for that matter. But to compare him to Chris from Married at First Sight is pretty insane to me. Chris from Married at First Sight was a complete jerk to his wife Paige, as well as a number of other cast members. Chris told Paige straight up that he was not attracted to her, but he still cracked her buns nonetheless, while making her think that giving up the goods might somehow change his mind. On his wedding day, he was coming at Paige with some foolishness before he fully even learned her name, and let's not forget the situation with his job, his ex, and him having a baby on the way. Now, Clay didn't have any of those issues. Clay's biggest issues were his unresolved childhood trauma and waiting until the wedding day to tell AD how he truly felt about getting married. This was extremely bad timing and definitely unfair to AD and her family. Outside of that, I completely see where Clay is coming from. And let's keep it completely real here. The concept of Love is Blind is silly and destined for failure if we really think about it long and hard. In a perfect world, the ideal cast members for the show like this would be people who would fall in love with complete strangers and be ready to marry them within a matter of a few weeks. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people out there that are very trustworthy and can be very vulnerable around others in the dating world, but most of those people don't look anything like the average cast members on Love is Blind. Furthermore, most of the folks that I know will tell you that a few weeks is entirely too soon to really get to know somebody and decide whether you want to marry them. But to do it in front of a worldwide audience adds additional pressure to the situation. And lastly, it is my opinion that the show's success rate is so low because most of the people who sign up to be part of the show are either extremely desperate to find love, and they'll say and do anything to get married, or they just want to be famous. But getting back to Clay, I think that in Clay's mind, he wasn't really physically attracted to AD as much as AD was to him. And don't get me wrong, AD is not ugly by any means. However, speaking from one guy's point of view, AD's body will garner more attention than her face. Clay hinted very early on that looks mattered to him, and he wanted AD to tell him what she looked like because he was into petite women, if I'm not mistaken. Well, AD is thicker than cold Rotel dip, and in my opinion, Clay took one look at AD and he was sexually attracted to her, but not enough to lower his guard and be completely open to the process. Now, before we go on to feeling completely sorry for AD, I think it's worth mentioning that AD seemed a little superficial during the process as well. When AD was in the pods, she made it seem like looks didn't matter with the guy that she was matched with, she would love them nonetheless. But AD was completely enamored with Clay's looks, so much so that it caused her to overlook a lot of red flags that Clay showed during the process. And you can't tell me that AD would have been as patient with a guy that was 400 pounds and had missing teeth. And with AD confirming that she and Clay had consummated their relationship and that the consummation was to her satisfaction, one could argue that the manner in which Clay had given AD that good old pickle tickle may have clouded AD's judgment and made her oblivious to the obvious signs that Clay was not ready for the Love is Blind process. So in summary, I don't consider Clay to be a liar or a F-boy or even a bad guy. However, it's very clear that Clay should have gone to therapy and worked out his issues before looking for a wife. I also believe that AD is very aware of how men are infatuated with her body, but she's had issues meeting guys that view her as a wife worth committing their lives to. And because of this, it seems like AD was somewhat desperate to engage in this process because it gave her the best chance of finding a husband, and she wanted to be married so badly that she was willing to put up with a lot of BS to achieve that goal. Now, I truly believe that Clay wants to continue their relationship with AD because deep down, he knows that AD is a good woman, and he realizes that not too many women have a body like AD. However, Clay's unresolved issues regarding his father still remain the same, and I don't see Clay being the best husband until he can get past those issues. I believe that AD was too embarrassed on her wedding day to remain in a relationship with Clay, and I don't fault her for that. But in my opinion, AD could also use some therapy of her own, because I don't think she was ready for the Love is Blind process either, at least not from a standpoint of being rejected. Nevertheless, I look forward to the reunion that's coming up because it seems like there's going to be a lot of drama. But this marks the end of the video. Please let me know what you think about the topic or of Season 6 overall, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.